Okay, so this is going to be a quick little video on how I prep resin figures before painting. Later on I will actually have a full airbrushing video, but this is just how I prep. So first step, step number 1, is Bondo patching. Thankfully this is Lady of Innsmouth that I sculpted and molded and cast, and thankfully my castings are fairly good. There's not a whole lot of defects, but what few there are get patched up with Bondo. This is just regular old, Bondo body filler. Wear gloves with this, use in a well-ventilated area. It is nasty, toxic stuff. That goes for sanding it too, which is step number 2. And as you can see, when I say there's only small defects, I mean it. There's just a few little dings and bumps, and what that is it's from the mold when I bolt it together, sometimes dimpling a little bit right where the mold halves meet up. So all I use is a couple different sandpapers. This is 220 grit. That's the rough sanding. Takes off all the main bulk of the filler that doesn't need to be there. This is 500 grit. Smooth it all out. If I was sanding for any other purpose other than something that's going to be primed and painted afterwards, I would go even finer than that to 1000 grit or 1200. But it's being primered after, so it doesn't need quite that fine sanding because the primer will smooth it all out. And that is the last step. First thing I do is grab my Rust-Oleum primer. This is fantastic primer, works well in resin. And I prime the top half of the sculpture first. So from here up. And I don't bother to mask any of that up because what overspray there is usually hits here where there's no detail. So there's nothing that is going to get overfilled when it gets extra coats of primer on it. So I do the top half. Then I mask this off. I cover the whole thing up here with saran wrap and then mask with painter's tape, blue painter's tape from Harbor Freight, nice and cheap. Mask off right along here, and as you can see, there are a few little, areas where it got black primer, but that's no problem. I can fix that up with a brush, and I hit the bottom with black primer. And the reason for the black primer down here is because this base is going to be painted black and then get some dry brushing over the top to bring out the details. I could have primered that white or gray. However, there's no point in that. It's going to be painted black. And that just means if I do the primer black, I only need to do one flat coat of black airbrush paint to make sure the color's all consistent. And that's it. If it was primered in a different color, airbrush paint's very thin. It can take several coats to cover completely. And I wanted to skip having to do that. So, that's the basics. Oh, the other thing is, I do all that stuff through this door into the garage. I do not do any of this in the house because it's toxic stuff. Spray paint and Bondo, none of that is good to breathe in. So do it outside, well-ventilated area. Wear a respirator if you got it. Gloves are a must. I wear nitrile gloves for mixing and starting the Bondo, just like I do when I use resin. I have these nice rubberized work gloves for sanding, so I don't rip my hands up. So yeah, probably later this week, there will be a video on airbrushing and then painting the little tiny details. I'm not sure how long that video will be. It'll probably be quite long. When I did the test paint for Lady of Innsmouth, it took 8 hours. That was a test paint though, so I was making a lot of changes and mixing colors. The actual paint up will probably take much less time than that, but still quite long, so it'll be a lot of editing and time lapse and all of that stuff. So, I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like the video, the whole deal. Until next time, bye-bye.